Come get your first look at the new Wrath of Magnus supplement for Warhammer 40k.
Spiky bits.
Welcome back, Hobby Maniacs. Rob Baer here with your first look at the new Wrath of Magnus supplement for Warhammer 40k. This is a ginormous tome. It retails for $75 and contains two fantastic books, the rules for this particular, storyline, and then of course the storyline itself. Now, this is a 136-page book, and I think this is like a 63 or 70-page book here on the rules, which it comes with quite a bit of rules, but pretty much all Chaos or Demon. Actually, they are all Chaos or Demon. And here's basically the breakdown of what's going on. It's the follow-up to the first Warzone Fenris book, which they kind of leave it wide open that there could be another one because there's still kind of stuff going on, but they also set the stages for the battle on Cadia, which of course we all know that will be a future Black Crusade saga perhaps, or series in the near future, maybe 2017. The book itself, or the whole kind of dust cover jacket kind of thing, is all very well done. You got some really dope embossing right there, and of course it's all probably UV coated, I'm not exactly sure, but as long as you don't drop your book, you can keep it in pretty good condition. It's really nice. Now this particular one is kind of a pain to get the books actually out of, but once you get them out, you can kind of see what's going on there. And here's the size difference, of course. Like I said, one is basically 3 times as big as the other, so the two books right there. Now, when we take a look at the rules, we're not going to get into every single rule and talk about every single data sheet and all that. I will tell you what isn't in there, and that's a lot of the rumors that we saw last week, which was kind of ridiculous. Now, the actual fluff book, the Saga of Spite and Vengeance, gives you the kind of an idea of what's going on here. It kind of picks up where everything left off with, the Rock and the whole Dark Angel's fleet transitioning into the Fenris system, opening a bombardment on the planet, but then Stern and Azrael, or maybe it was Belial, I forget, they're both in this book, we're trying to get up on the bridge and be like, yo, we're cool now, everything's good, what are you guys doing, why are you shooting at things, hey, wait a minute, who's that guy over there? And that's kind of where it picks up. And it just kind of goes bat nuts crazy on the bridge of the Rock. And I won't spoil any more from there, but it's a really, really hilarious story. It's just like a cacophony of buffoonery on the bridge of the Rock. It's just hilarious. I'm like, these guys are all dumb. But it's a fun read, and there is a lot of reading going on here. Now, they have it all kind of broken up into different sections. It doesn't necessarily go along with the rules section like we saw with Callian and Monka, where they would be like, okay, there was this battle, and then you could kind of translate that into the rules kind of section. This is all just kind of disjointed all over the place, but it follows along several different battle sites in the Fenris system, which you can see right here where they're firing on Frostheim, and then they go into Mangardia, the Fenris, of course. I haven't got that far in the book to see if there was actual battle on Fenris. I think they were fighting at the Fang, actually, that's true. These things are actually silver towers, so go figure. They're, in system, and they shoot the planet, and they land, and dudes get off them, and all sorts of different things. There's Magnus, of course. Magnus is in this book. Spoiler alert. Aramon as well. It's a good read from what I've read so far. It's obviously 136 pages, and these aren't the small novel pages. This is the full-on storybook college class page. So it's going to take a little while for me to get through all this, but so far it's a really dope read. And then we'll just leave you with this little spoiler alert on the back page there, like I was talking about. Some stuff's going down in Cadia next, so dramatic spoiler alert for probably what's happening here soon. We're going to see more supplements. I'm going to skip that page, but it's already there, so you can rewind and see it. But there's lots of new stuff coming out, and here's the order of battle for all of the Thousand Sons. You got Magnus, you got all the armories, all the different factions within the Thousand Sons, and then there's some dope color schemes for you, and you got Zangor colors, so you get the Prism of Fate, the Tizican Host, Secti, Prospering, I don't know, these are big words, big words, I don't get paid enough for that, the Exiled and the Estranged, all sorts of different stuff there, and then another beautiful shot of Magnus. So that is pretty much the storybook or fluff book section of it. And now we're going to jump into the rules. And like I said, we're not going to show you every little thing and talk about what's new in here and what's not new in here. But I can tell you right now, some of the rumors that we saw on rumor sites out there are false. There's no reroll ones as far as I can tell. There's actually no discipline of change in here. It's the discipline of Tzeentch. There is no D crazy 12-inch weapon. There's the Gaze of Magnus, which is an 18-inch D beam, but as far as that goes, there isn't that reroll one kind of thing. You just set your dice up. I don't know what all that was, but it was a rumor that was going around. I can't find it anywhere in this book, so I'm just going to say it's not, because a lot of people were planning their game plan out using those psychic powers, which don't look to be true. So now Magnus, you know, it's arguable that he might be a little less effective on the tabletop, of course, unfortunately, but he still is a dope model, and he still will play a role, albeit not exactly sure what it will be now going forward. So here's the contents of the book, which we've already seen earlier in the week. I believe there is, 6 new data sheets for the Thousand Suns themselves, and they also 6 new formations, a detachment for them. Then you've got 3 data sheets for the demons. Of course, there is a demon detachment in here, and I want to say there's a couple of different little demon mini formations too. I think there's maybe 4 of those. The numbers don't make any sense when you consider, you know, the Tzeentch's number is 7, but there you go. That's just what we got in here. So starting in the front, you've got all the new data sheets, the 6 new models that came out for the Thousand Suns, which we've already showed you here on the channel. And then it gets into some of the formations. There's a couple of those, and there's 6 of those altogether, and the delicious section of gorgeous heavy metal miniatures. Then it gets into the armory, and remember, like I was saying earlier, I don't know if it was this video or the last one, the Terminators are just stock Terminators. You don't get any special rules. This is basically all of the changes for the armory, which is just them showing you what the ranged weapons do. So there's no special rules for the Terminator armor. Some people were out there were saying that they were slow and purposeful. They weren't slow and purposeful, that you could sweep in advance with them. They just count as a set of Terminator armor. And here's the discipline of Tzeentch with the Gaze of Magnus, which everybody seems to be talking about because it's an 18-inch Strength D AP1 Soul Blaze, not the ability that Magnus was rumored to have, where it was what is it? The radius thing. You know what I'm talking about. But the radius thing, to where everything that got hit by it would be turned into a spawn. There is a spawn mechanic in here. It's called Transmogrify. However, that is basically on a 6 to wound. It does cause instant death. If something dies from that, you get a spawn under your control. So not exactly any of that mess, I guess. But, you know, that being said, these are the new disciplines of Tzeentch. Of course, they're good, but used in combination with, of course, the new disciplines for Chaos, they can definitely be a little better, obviously. So you've got some stuff here. I like the Heretic because it does a lot of hull point damage with Witch Fires, which I think are great when comboed with the Gaze of Magnus. And then you're going to see here in the detachment that there's ways for you to pick up some bonuses and be able to cast extra spells, to get pluses to your saves, to get rerolls on your saves. There's all sorts of special abilities in here that really work together. And while the points costs aren't quite as much as they used to be in the old Chaos Codex, I am not sure, sight unseen of just these rules themselves, how competitive, air quotes, they'll be in, you know, the competitive meta out there. Now, that's not to say that, hey, collecting a Thousand Suns army won't be dope, because it totally is. I mean, these models are fantastic, but I'm not sure that these can go toe-to-toe with some of the stuff that we've seen in the past, especially Genestealer cults. Those are just the boogeyman out there right now. Like, nobody's playing with them, everybody's talking about them. They're like, oh, in theory, they're so good, and in theory, they are freaking amazing, but you don't see them on a tabletop yet, and they're not winning tournaments. So it's like, I don't know what's going on anymore. It's just like Paper Hammer meets real tabletop Warhammer, I guess, at some points. Then you got some new tactical objectives and some Altar of War missions. I think there's 6 of those. Then it gets to the demon section, where, if you haven't heard already, some of the horrors split apart. Pretty neat, interesting mechanic. So you got, you know, your pink horrors turn into blue horrors, which turn into brimstone horrors. A little bit of clarification here is definitely needed, because in the rule, if a rule causes a whole unit of blue horrors to be removed at once, excluding demonic instability, you can immediately create a new unit of brimstone horrors just before removing the last model from the Blue Horse unit, which none of us had heard yet because that was like a big concern. We weren't sure, hey, can you just go infinite on these guys? Because that's just crazy. It turns out you can't due to demonic instability. However, something that needs to be mentioned is that whenever they suffer casualties, you can create a new unit, right? And that goes for any of them. So in the shooting phase, you can create a new unit. In the assault phase, if there are already a friendly Brimstone Horror within 6 inches, and you can set them up as a new unit within the unit, must be set up with all models within the last unit. Okay, so basically there's rules here for when they can combine to form a new unit or when they have to be attached to an older unit. So read this section here because it is a lot of text, and it's specific for the Brimstone Horrors and the Pink and Blue Horrors too. So just some stuff to keep an eye on. And then here you got the 3 formations for them. I like this one, it's pretty neat. It's got 1 to 3 loader changes in the Fate Weaver, and basically it just lets you reroll to hit any rolls of 1 for hit and wound, which last time I checked that was a preferred enemy, but I guess they wanted to word it differently there. Not exactly sure. And you can also reroll failed attempts to seize the initiative and any reserve rolls. So I think it could definitely be useful in certain circumstances there. And then the Heralds Anarchic. I don't get paid enough to know these words here. So there's 4 of the new Tzeentch formations, and then we get into the Loki, and there's some icons ported over as well. So that's it rules-wise, except for the new detachment for the Tzeentch Demons, which is right here, and it gives you all sorts of different bonuses. Again, we're going to break down all this stuff in much more detail in our tips and tactics video, which will be coming out next week. And then there's a new Warp Storm table and Tzeentch tactical objectives. I thought I was already past all that. Then it goes into Altar of War missions, and then finally, that is all the rules, I swear, with a little profile page. So pretty neat set of rules, I think, as far as supplements go, and actually getting new, insightful, detailed, playable rules. This is definitely on par with any of the supplements out there. I would expect to see these guys on the tabletop, but I'm not sure on the competitive scene quite yet. Sight unseen of the new Trader's Legion book, which will be coming out just in 1 week as well. So lots of exciting times for Chaos. Can't say enough good things about what GW's doing and the direction they're going. And definitely thank you so much for bringing Chaos back to the fore, because it's been far, far too long.
Deleted scenes, bonus content, and all the interviews and post-game wrap-up videos can be located in the Hall of Veterans on thelongwar.net. Visit thelongwar.net today and try a week completely free with no strings attached. That's not all. TheLongWar.net is also your hobby resource for exclusive early access with an ad-free experience to all your favorite videos. Members of the Hall of Veterans gain early exclusive access to multiple hobby videos,